General Hospital will reveal exciting details over the next 2 weeks from February 17 to 28, 2025. First, Carly felt a storm brewing in her mind as she processed the latest news about Sonny. The custody update unsettled her, but more than that, it made her question the true reason behind his sudden alliance with Ava. She had always known Sonny to be strategic, but something about this arrangement didn't sit right with her. If there was another explanation, she intended to find it. Despite everything that had happened between them, Carly couldn't shake the concern gnawing at her. Sonny had been acting strange, and now she wondered if there was more at play than she initially realized. What if his behavior wasn't just about leverage or control? What if something deeper, something medical, was forcing his hand? The idea unsettled her, but she had no way of knowing unless Sonny chose to tell her the truth. Meanwhile, as the day unfolded, Carly found herself unexpectedly caught in a moment of lightness. Brennan surprised her with a bouquet of Valentine's Day flowers, a gesture that felt oddly intimate given the complicated nature of their relationship. It was a small but meaningful offering, one that hinted at a connection growing between them. Just as she allowed herself a rare moment of enjoyment, the evening took an abrupt turn. The interruption was swift, cutting through the warmth like a blade, leaving a tension in its wake. Brennan, sensing the shift, immediately moved to contain the damage. There was an unspoken urgency in his actions, as if he knew exactly what, or who, had caused the disruption. If Jocelyn was involved, then the situation was far more delicate than Carly had realized. The path Brennan had been leading her daughter down was dangerous, and while Carly wasn't yet aware of the full extent, she would not stand by idly. If Brennan thought he could repair what had already begun to unravel, he was mistaken. Second, Maxie was in her element, spreading Valentine's Day cheer with a mischievous glint in her eye. Playing Cupid was a role she embraced wholeheartedly, and this time, her sights were set on Lulu and Dante. She had always believed they shared an undeniable connection, one that deserved a second chance. With her signature blend of charm and determination, Maxie nudged them toward each other, hoping to rekindle a spark that time and circumstance had dimmed. Whether they realized it or not, love had a funny way of resurfacing when given the right push. Elsewhere, Chase was busy planning a heartfelt surprise for Brooke Lynn. He had never been one for grand romantic gestures, but for her, he was willing to make an exception. As he presented his carefully thought-out gift, the warmth in her eyes was unmistakable. But beneath her smile, an ache of guilt lingered. The weight of her secret pressed heavily on her, and this moment of kindness only intensified her internal conflict. Maybe it was time to come clean, time to finally speak the truth about the child she had kept hidden. Courage wasn't easy to summon, but as the evening unfolded, she found herself inching closer to a decision that could change everything. Meanwhile, Kai and Trina were lost in their own world, weaving memories through laughter and whispered conversations. Their connection deepened in the soft glow of candlelight, turning a simple Valentine's gathering into something far more significant. There was comfort in their bond, an understanding that required no words. With every shared glance, every touch, they built something strong, something that neither of them wanted to let go of. The night was filled with unexpected moments, some joyous, some startling, but all unforgettable. As love and secrets intertwined, Valentine's Day proved to be more than just a celebration of romance. It was a night of revelations, second chances, and new beginnings. Third, Elizabeth had always sensed that Cyrus was a lingering threat, but she hadn't expected him to turn his focus directly onto her. The feeling of being watched had become impossible to ignore, and now, with Lucky by her side, she was determined to put an end to his reign of terror. Handing crucial evidence over to the police was supposed to be a step toward justice, but instead, it ignited a fury in Cyrus that was far more dangerous than she had anticipated. He wouldn't let this betrayal go unanswered. As the tension mounted, Lucky found himself in a position he had been in too many times before, protecting Elizabeth at any cost. He had vowed long ago to keep her safe, and when Cyrus finally made his move, that promise became a desperate reality. In a moment of pure instinct, Lucky threw himself between Elizabeth and danger, taking the hit meant for her. The world blurred into chaos as he collapsed, pain lancing through him while Elizabeth screamed his name. Meanwhile, across town, Lulu and Laura were blindsided by shocking news. The weight of uncertainty hung heavy in the air, their worst fears bubbling to the surface. They had spent years worrying about Lucky, but this time felt different, more final. Back at General Hospital, the emergency room became a battlefield as Isaiah and Portia fought against time itself. The controlled chaos of the trauma unit swallowed them whole, their focus locked on saving a life hanging by a thread. Every decision, every move was critical. The machines beeped urgently, the air thick with tension. Lucky had risked everything to protect Elizabeth, and now, he was the one clinging to survival. Whether he would make it through the night remained uncertain, but one thing was clear, Cyrus had set this into motion, and the battle was far from over. Fouth, Jason had never been one to hesitate when it came to protecting the people he cared about. After everything that had happened, the weight of his decision pressed heavily on him. He had spent too much time watching Cyrus manipulate, destroy, and leave a trail of chaos in his wake. Now, the moment had arrived. Jason knew what had to be done. Ignoring every warning, he steeled himself for what was coming. There was no more room for restraint. If Cyrus wasn't stopped now, more lives would be lost, and Jason refused to let that happen. Meanwhile, Drew found himself in yet another heated confrontation with Curtis. The tension between them had been growing for weeks, and this time, neither was willing to back down. But it was his next encounter with Jason that truly ignited a firestorm. What had once been a complicated brotherhood had now turned into something darker, something more dangerous. If Drew wasn't careful, he would cross a line that couldn't be undone. He had already started down a path that revealed a side of himself that even Willow hadn't seen before. If he kept pushing, there was no telling where it would end, or what it would cost him. Elsewhere, Sasha found herself at a breaking point. The secrets she had been holding onto for too long had started to eat away at her, and Maxie, as persistent as ever, wasn't letting up. Eventually, the truth had to come out. With a deep breath, Sasha finally let it slip. Michael had been the one she had been with. The words hung in the air between them, carrying a weight that neither of them could ignore. But the deception surrounding the true paternity of Sasha's child and the tangled web of lies connected to Jason was far from over. As the pieces continued to shift across Port Charles, complications mounted, setting the stage for even more betrayals, revelations, and unexpected consequences. Finally, the days of Cyrus ruling over Port Charles with fear and manipulation seemed to be numbered. As the final week of February approached, the tension surrounding his fate reached its breaking point. Jason had made his decision, Cyrus could no longer be allowed to wreak havoc. But whether Jason would be the one to finally eliminate him or if someone else would step in remained the ultimate question. The danger was mounting, and the possibility of an unexpected player striking first loomed over every move. Among those caught in the storm, Jocelyn refused to back down. She had been relentless in her pursuit of justice for Dex, and now, her determination was pushing her into dangerous territory. The hints scattered throughout the coming days suggested that she was on the verge of making a bold, possibly reckless decision, one that could put her in direct conflict with Cyrus. If she played her cards right, she could be the key to his downfall. If she made one wrong move, however, she could find herself in over her head, facing consequences she hadn't anticipated. As the tension built, a mystery began to unfold. The show had an opportunity to turn this into something bigger than just another takedown. It could be a whodunit that left audiences guessing. With so many enemies, anyone could be responsible for taking Cyrus down. Jason, Jocelyn, Sunny, Drew, even someone unexpected lurking in the shadows. No matter how it played out, the end seemed inevitable. Cyrus had built his empire on deception, fear, and violence. Now, those very things were coming back to haunt him. The final move was only a matter of time.